It's about time. Pam Bondi and President Trump's DOJ have finally started taking action against corrupt Democrat politicians. Massachusetts State Representative Christopher Flanagan was arrested and charged with 5 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of falsifying records. If convicted, he faces up to 20 years in federal prison. Now, he spent the money on what you would expect: personal expenses, campaign expenses, electronics, and clothing for himself. But one expense was so outrageous, I want to turn this into a guessing game. So I'm going to play you a local news report showing more details about the case. But while this is playing, go ahead and guess. Leave it down in the comments. Guess what you think the outrageous expense is.
Representative from Dennis has been arrested for allegedly defrauding a local trade association. State Rep Christopher Flanagan was arrested this morning after being indicted by a federal grand jury. The U.S. Attorney's Office says that he will face 5 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of falsification of records. The charges stem from his time working as executive officer of the Home Builders and Remodelers Association of Cape Cod from 2019 to 2024. Prosecutors say that between November of 2021 and January of 2023, Flanagan allegedly stole $36,000 from association accounts. Most of that money was allegedly used to pay his mortgage bills and pay down his debt, but $10,000 of it was allegedly used to finance his successful campaign for state representative. The Democrat is expected to be in federal court in Boston at 2:30 this afternoon.
Now, Christopher Flanagan has been released. A judge, a Democrat of course, released him with no bond. I was able to get my hands on the falsified record, and you'll notice on the second line it says office supplies for $3,784.84. But there's just one problem. 2,118 of those dollars were spent on Best Buy, Macy's, and Target, all for himself. The Macy's and Target were clothes, and Best Buy, he apparently got electronics, including a Bluetooth speaker. So have you made your guesses on what that outrageous expense is? This is your last chance. Pause the video, leave your guess down below. According to the New York Post, Democrat Massachusetts lawmaker arrested for fraud used stolen funds to purchase, quote, psychic services. This is according to the feds. I think he needs a refund on those psychic services because apparently his psychic didn't warn him that all of this was coming down the pipeline. A local news report has more details on the counts of fraud and also confirms the personal psychic services. So up top, you'll see that amount, $36,000 stolen in HBA funds that were used to help pay down his personal debt. Apparently, he took out credit cards and got behind not just on the credit cards, but on his mortgage and just other areas of his life. Next, they confirmed the personal psychic services. It's been rumored that these psychic services were all about his campaign and whether or not he would win. Next, you'll notice that he purposefully backdated transactions to make those transactions look legitimate and to account for the stolen funds. He also used false transaction codes, including office supplies, travel, bank charges, etc. Next, the HBA board actually asked for proof, but when he gave them proof, they were 2 phony expense reports. And last but not least, the way he got caught, this was when it all started to unravel. According to the indictment, the Massachusetts Office of Campaign and Political Finance opened an investigation in December 2022 regarding a campaign mailer that was distributed during Flanagan's 2022 campaign for state representative, purportedly a group called Conservatives for Dennis. Well, it looks like this Conservatives for Dennis may not actually exist and may have been entirely created, invented, and funded by Flanagan. Yeah, and he used the money to do that. Here's a copy of one of the postcards: Chris Flanagan, service, honesty, integrity, which of course is really ironic since he's now facing 5 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of falsified records. And again, just not just the irony of what's on the card, but you just gotta love it. He set the trap for himself, and it's his own actions, as always, that are the cause of his own demise. Now, as if that's not embarrassing enough for Democrats, I'm going to move on to another state, Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, was actually in the White House. You may not have known this, but take a look at what Mediaite reported. Democrat governor mocked for brutal viral photo for hiding behind binders at White House meeting with Trump. You're not going to believe this until you see it. That right there is Gretchen Whitmer hiding her face behind folders because she can't even let herself be photographed in the Oval Office where President Trump is present. Keep in mind, this is the woman who, during the Walz-Harris campaign, put on a Harris Walls hat and creepily fed a Dorito to a girl, like a furry dressed in pink, on her knees in front of her. Do you remember that? It was a super creepy video. I wasn't sure if it was like a kink or if she was making fun of communion and Catholics. Whatever it was, it just gave me the ick watching it. But you know, Gretchen Whitmer is okay being filmed in that disturbing video, yet when she's in the Oval Office conducting official business, she's too ashamed to have her photo taken. So she is rightfully being ridiculed online. Just take a look at some of these posts. Gretchen Whitmer hides her face rather than be seen in the president's office. Is Governor Whitmer hiding from the press here, or still hiding from the people of Michigan? Ooh, ouch. Whitmer's hiding from the cameras the same way she's hiding from voters in the 35th Senate District. Childish. And last but not least, someone came up with a new nickname for her. One of my favorite things about this is that she would have been better off just having her photo taken. Normal Gretchen Whitmer in the White House would have been a lot less embarrassing than hiding Gretchen Whitmer. And that is what I'm going to call her from now on the channel whenever she has stories, hiding Gretchen Whitmer. Well, hiding Gretchen Whitmer apparently can be cordial. She can be polite when she's doing business. This is her interacting with President Trump that exact same day.
Has this gotten into any of the other lakes yet? Because you would think it would be pretty easy because they're all sort of connected. Governor?
It's why we're working so hard to make sure that, you know, we work with the Army Corps and erect a barrier so that the Asian carp can't get into Lake Michigan. It'll devastate the ecosystem, the economy, tourism, and it's 20% of the world's fresh waters in the Great Lakes, Mr. President, which is why it's so important that as a nation we protect the pristine waters. Yep.
And, you know, all of a sudden, I assume the lakes are all interconnected, right? Yeah. So at some point they're going to be in the other lakes. And so we're going to work hard on that.
I'm just wondering, why during this interaction did she not cover her face with the folders? Like, she was too ashamed to have her photo taken, so she puts the folders up. Well, why not just speak behind the folders the entire time? Heck, why not hide behind one of the couches or the chairs or under the table? It's just, come on. It's all for show. They're just trying to pander to their base. They're trying to get a viral social media moment. But similar to Flanagan, she's just causing the damage to herself. She's embarrassing herself in all of this. And in fact, just a few days before, she had spoken about the tariffs and even said a few nice things about President Trump and understanding where he's coming from. Why weren't you hiding behind the binders then, Gretchen? Hiding Gretchen.
I understand the motivation behind the tariffs. And I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America. More cars and chips. More steel and ships. We do need fair trade.
Okay, yeah, I am surprised that she said something as common sense and honest as that, but I'm even more surprised she was willing to say that without hiding behind binders. Today, I would like to acknowledge I See Happiness, Stacy L, and USMC Carr. Thank you so much. Today's members of the Governor's Club. Again, these are people who have tipped or super thanks to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Last but not least, I want to show this epic throwdown by Scott Jennings on CNN. Let's just get into this because this is a great clip.
Land. You cannot just go and say, I like it, it's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world order, yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it, I want to take it for mine, that is a very colonized attitude.
I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and, quote, colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the President of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
I'm actually, if you want to engage in personal insults,
I don't, but you
what
do.
You lack in a legitimate point, you make up for it in personal
I don't. You
personal insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No, we're not.
So if you want to engage in personal insults,
we're not
if I were
isolated.
you, I would reserve that for your party who is increasingly isolated. This will, our position
outside of the United States.
She went on and on about personal insults when she was the one who threw the first personal insult. And in fact, Scott Jennings, his insult was just really turning a mirror on her, right? Because her insult was, you're not in government, you're irrelevant. And then he says, you want to talk about irrelevant, you're the one who was fired from MSNBC. And then all of a sudden, oh, woe is me, you're attacking me, you're persecuting me, you're throwing personal insults. Hello? You started it. Indeed, she was fired from MSNBC, and Meghan McCain actually posted that clip online. And so apparently when she was on MSNBC, Tiffany Cross spent an entire segment, yes, not an entire segment actually, an entire show, 1 hour, talking about Meghan McCain's hair, her style, her clothing, and accused Meghan McCain of cultural appropriation, basically stealing black culture, black fashion, black ideas, and wearing it on her white body. And Tiffany Cross spent the entire hour arguing that it was cultural appropriation, it was racist, it was insensitive. I mean, you know, Meghan McCain likes to think that that's the reason why she was fired, but I don't know if it was that specific episode or whether it was because of low ratings, but the reality is she's not on TV anymore, with the exception of moments like this where she's brought on as a guest. In fact, Scott Jennings gets more airtime than her, so she has no power. She has no legitimacy in calling anyone irrelevant. And then also, when you first throw a punch, you better be ready to take it. But as always, all of that is just my analysis and commentary. That is what's going on in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So what do you think about the arrest of Christopher Flanagan? Are you happy? Are you excited? I know in a few of my videos, so many people are like, Daniel, like Pam Bondi has done nothing. Pam Bondi is all talk, no action. But to me, this appears like this is a federal probe. This is something that the DOJ has done. They're working through their federal branches in Massachusetts, of course, but it clearly is coming from the top down. And so personally, I'm excited about it. I mean, like, I know it's not enough for what people want. People want answers when it comes to the lockdowns, or when it comes to 2020, or when it comes to corruption, or when it comes to insider trading. But does this at least give you a taste, hopefully, of what could potentially be coming down the pipeline? Or are you like, ugh, too little, too late? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these videos.